I am struggling after our trip to Somalia. We were sent by our organization to that country. Instead of doing our core business, which was to teach about the gospel of God, I started dating married men, taking advantage of the money I have. I destroyed many families. 2 days before we fly back to New Zealand, we went to this other village. The people in that area are so different. I laughed at them whenever we came closer. Now I'm back home and my stomach is... Hello viewers, welcome once again to another educative episode of African Confessions HD, right here on Extraordinary Africa. My name is Solution Uncle. If you're still new in this show, we publish lifetime confessions. Usually we publish anonymously for their own safety reasons. Listeners, you're having a problem, you're having a challenge, don't go to the forest and commit suicide. Feel free to share your story with us. Don't be shy, don't be afraid. Our WhatsApp number and Telegram number is +263 775 597 775 +263 775 597 775. Today in this video we have 3 confessions. The first confession of this man who is saying they were on a trip to Somalia. He loved a certain woman and now the thing is backfiring him. Also, we'll be talking about this confession of a boy who is saying my manhood is decreasing. We'll talk about that one again. Also, don't forget the last confession of a man who sacrificed his own father to boost a general dealer tax shop. I'll be reading the confession of the boy who is saying his manhood is decreasing first. Then we'll go into the confession of a man who went to Somalia and loved a certain lady. Finally, we'll go through the confession of this who sacrificed his own father. Viewers, I don't want to continue wasting time. Let's go straight into the confessions. This confession is strictly for the people above the age of 18. Hello, my brother, how are you? Please post for me as identity. I am struggling with my manhood, which is coming small, and my boy is doing the opposite. This story started with my first girl, which she was very stubborn. She liked to consult a lot of traditional healers. Then after our small fight is when I started to recognize the problem is now I am suffering. I do date girl with my small 45. It makes me feel shy when I'm with a girl. Please help me to solve the problem. Cause when I consult, they all tell me about both Sangoma and spiritual pastors. Please assist. I am always listening to your confessions every day. When I'm at work, even now, I'm writing this while I'm listening to some of the confessions. Please hide my identity. Yellow Solution Uncle, please hide my identity as per tradition. Also notify me when you post. I am in this trouble. This is what is happening in my stomach. My stomach is growing. I'm now unable to walk. I consulted a prophet online. The prophet told me that there is a trip he went to Africa and he was dating married woman. At the end, you laughed at this certain person God loves so much. Now this is the thing which is going back against you. This is my full story. I am a man who grew up in South Africa. I was born and raised by my single mother. Mom was hustling. He was doing everything, trying to bring food on table. Our life wasn't easy. This came after our father died. The relatives of my father chased us away and took everything. They used juju so that the cause will be dumb. The cause won't care about us. That was our lifestyle. We moved to another city with my mother. Mom started buying and selling, moving in the streets, selling small items so that she can bring food on our table. That was our lifestyle. I grew up by that, going to school just like other kids. But at the end, I met bad friends. There is this friend I was playing with. he started dating a colored girl. The girl was from a rich background. This influenced me because the guy later on going to a local sangoma to take a charm so that he can be successful in life. He took the charm. After taking the charm, he became rich and started telling me to join them, giving me directions to where he went and take the charm to be rich. Now he owns businesses, buses, cars, mansions across the country, and some are in Zambia and Zimbabwe. This influence killed my whole life. I later on, accompanied by him, went to a sangoma who gave him all those riches. The sangoma told me to put my urine in a glass and take the urine, mix it with some substances, starting ululating and doing all his stuffs, and said, "You have to sleep on your father's grave." I went back home. I started having an argument with my mother. "Mom, can you tell me where is my father's grave?" Mom has been rejecting. I didn't know exactly because my father died when I was still a toddler. I started beating my mother till she told me and gave me the directions to my paternal family. The next day, I borrowed money from that friend who wanted me to go and take a charm. I went to this other town, I can't mention it, and go straight to the village which is near that town. That's where our family comes from. My grandfather and grandmother are still alive. They went with me to the grave. It was like I just want to see it. I went back with them home. We have food and I went back to the city. Disguisedly, I was like going back to the city and later on returned to the grave at night. I slept at that grave on top of it. The next day, I returned to the city and go back to my city. Went to my friend. We go back to the sangoma. The sangoma told me the process was complete and the ritual was over. From that day, my life was changed. I was now earning a lot of money. The sangoma gave me bundles of money and told me that the rule was to spend all the money. After spending all the money, I should spend that money by buying items, then sell the items. I will start using the money from the items I sell. That is when all the money I was given by the sangoma is over. That's exactly what I did. I opened a car sale from that money, and now I'm enjoying from that money. Later on, I was called by the sangoma. I went. I thought it was good news. Maybe I was going to upgrade my wealth. He told me, "I have done a lot to you, but you have never paid back. Look at your friend. Your friend gave me all his kids. The other friend gave me his father. The other friend gave me his grandchildren. But for you, I want your mother." That was a very sad and unbelievable thing I would never expect I would be doing even when I was still growing up. Because I know the struggles my mother faced in taking care of me after our relatives rejected me. I didn't like that and took the money without accepting the request of the sangoma. I went to Australia with my mother. Upon arriving in Australia, my mother started feeling sick and died. I used that money from the car sale for traveling expenses to Australia. Later on, I moved to New Zealand to finish my studies, and I started working for this organization. My life in that organization was not perfect. I was always being warned, one day you're gonna lose that job. I was always facing misfortunes. Sometimes I could come to work late. The people I started working with are now promoted to the levels, but I am still a messenger. They sent us to Africa, to Somalia. We went to the villages to preach the gospel of God. That was the organization called business. I was preaching and preaching, but later on that demon came into me. I started snatching married women in Somalia. I have so many kids across that country. It was like I was going to preach, but I was sleeping with men, women. 2 days before we were to come back to New Zealand, we went to the final village. That village, I have never seen such people. The people are so different to the people from other villages. Whenever we came closer, I started laughing. I laughed at this other lady, and the lady said, "You will look for me one day." Now I'm back in New Zealand. I was fired last week from job because they are saying they had bad reports about me. Now as I send you this message, I am lying in a cottage of my friend. This is the problem. My stomach is growing. My stomach is becoming bigger. I can't stand up. It's too heavy for me. And I am dreaming that lady saying, "You surely die. How can you do that to me?" I consulted prophets online. They are saying you loved someone. You was dating, married. So I don't know between the two. Please do not disclose. This is the problem. Don't ever comment bad, because I'm feeling like I want to commit suicide. This whole thing is a mess now. Please, Solution Uncle, tell me once you upload. Yellow Solution Uncle, please, as per tradition, hide my identity as well. I am a man from Zimbabwe. This is what I did to my father. I am now into a business of buying and selling blankets. I go to countries such as Zambia, Mozambique, South Africa, Botswana, then come and sell in Zimbabwe. There is a friend of mine. The friend is now successful. He was into buying shoes and selling in our country. The friend told me that he went to Mozambique to a certain traditional healer who is giving people the charms without killing, without blood. This is what my friend told me, and I thought he was telling me the truth. I went to that traditional healer, and the traditional healer told me to come back with any of my father's shoes. I thought it was just to connect the charm, because he said the charm will be connected to your ancestors. I went back home to Zimbabwe and took my father's shoes and went back to Mozambique with the shoes. The Sangoma took the shoes and said, "Once you are at home, buy another shoes for your father." This is what I did. And the next week, my father started feeling sick. He was acting so weird. He was like he is mentally ill. By the time he was sick, he hated me, and I suspected it was the thing. Later on, he died whilst asleep. The next morning, we just discovered our father was no more. The funeral was held. After funeral, my business started flowing. People started calling me, demanding a lot of blankets. Mission hospitals, some organizations and individuals want blankets in bulk. Now I am now owning a blanket wholesale in Harare. This is what I did to my father. I think I need to repent and start having a normal life. I regret killing the breadwinner, the one who raised me from the dust to where I am. Please do not scold me. I offended. You also offended sometimes. Please post anonymous. Please post anonymous. That's my story, Solution Uncle. And foremost, I'd like to thank everyone who confessed. Thank you so much to the people who were tuned into this Extraordinary Africa episode. Thank you so much for always supporting this channel. To the people who confess, I'd like to thank you. Sometimes in life, we learn from other people's mistakes, and you are always making us to be always aware. We need to pray. We need to pray. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening now. We need to pray. This is the main lesson we have learned so far. Let's be very aware. The devil is at work 24/7, just waiting for us to relax, then kill us. So we need to be very, 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 very aware. Let's teach them to pray when they are still young. Let's teach our children to pray. Mothers, grandmothers, aunties, let's teach them to pray. Let's teach them to pray. Let's teach them to be afraid without praying. They should be afraid. Today I have not prayed. Let's teach our kids, because this world we are living now is turning to be a hell on its own. We need to teach them to be very aware. We are learning a lot. Our daily verse for today, Mark chapter 10, verse 27. Jesus looked at them and said, "With men this is impossible, but not with God. All things are possible with God." So to the people who are suffering, start praying, fasting. Start praying and fasting. Go and testify later. By just having faith, you will be testifying. You have that faith. God will set me free. God, I offended you. Please, I regret what I did. Please forgive me. I'm your kid. I'm back. Thank you so much, listeners. Thank you so much.